mother was a stay-at-home mom. I was everything from an Al Phillips girl to a cocktail waitress when I was in going to school. And a Pell Grant with an extra $500 a year, that's an important thing for our kids. 32,000 Nevada students that are going to college are going to get that Pell Grant, and everyone's going to get it.
Okay, we're switching gears again here, trying to cover all the bases. You have been critical of the Obama actions with respect to Israel and of the Palestinians. Given the present Israeli government, what suggestions for brokering peace in the Middle East do you have to suggest?
That is a wonderful question. I am in favor of a two-state solution, a Palestinian state living side by side with the Jewish state of Israel. President Obama and I agree on that. I thought, and I told him very publicly, nothing that he read in the paper. He knew just from me. And we talked about this before he ran, while he was running for president, and we talk about it now. And this is perfect timing because I just came back from Israel. There were 29 other members of Congress. We met with the Prime Minister of Israel, the Prime Minister of the Palestinians. We met with the Defense Minister, the Foreign Minister, you name it, we met with them on both sides. Let me tell you what I am seeing. The big difference between President Obama and I was the settlement issue. I think there should be natural growth in the settlements. If you have more kids and you want to build an addition on your home, I think you should. If you have a settlement, and we're talking about suburbs, about 40,000 people. These are not little tent cities anymore. Any illegal settlements have to be dismantled. They should have been dismantled years ago. If it's a legal settlement, that when there is a division and there's a Palestinian state and an Israeli state, I'm talking about the settlements that would be on the Israeli side. Given that, there should be natural growth, which means adding a room to your house or adding a school if you've got a whole bunch of school kids and they need a place. The Obama administration, or the White House, said that there could be absolutely no growth in the settlements. I thought that was too strident, too stringent, and too public. And what ends up happening is you draw a line in the sand, hard for the administration to step back, hard for the Israelis who have a lot of pride to look like they're acquiescing to the Americans, and then you've got the Palestinians that we need to bring to the peace table. So I just thought it wasn't a good idea. Now let me tell you this, and for people that, there's no people on this planet that have suffered more than the Palestinians. Their leadership, their leadership has used and abused these people for years. Arafat's widow walked away with $1 billion of our money, and it just makes me crazy that she's living in France high on the hog, and the people in the Gaza are suffering beyond suffering. I know all this stuff. Let me tell you this. I came home feeling really much better than when I went there. The Israelis are very optimistic that they can make a deal. The Palestinians are optimistic. And to give you an idea, and I've been there 17 times. 17 times. So it's not like this was my first walk around the block. Usually when we went into Ramallah, which is on the West Bank and pretty much the Palestinian capital, when we would go to meet Arafat or meet Abu Mazen, we would go to the Israeli border and then switch to armored vehicles with a really big guy with a really big gun sitting in the front seat. And that's how we would caravan into the West Bank, kind of go as quick as we can into the Palestinian headquarters, have the meeting, come back, and get back to the Israeli side, where quite frankly we breathed a sigh of relief that you got back okay. This time, we drove a same bus, drove right from Israel into the West Bank, went into Ramallah, walked into the meeting, had fabulous meetings with the Prime Minister and the President, got back into the bus and took a bus tour of Ramallah. Now, what I am seeing there is a burst of activity, building all over the place, infrastructure growth, and a real movement towards a good economy. Also, the fact that the Palestinian security forces are being trained. It's American money, Egyptian. They're being trained in Egypt. Actually, the Israelis are training them in Egypt. There's 1,200 that have been fully trained, and unlike Iraq, which we've been training people for 20 years, they are taking command of the situation. And as they, dare I say, step up, the Israelis are pulling out. And the 80 roadblocks have been eliminated, and the Israelis are getting out of the West Bank as soon as they can. Now, the Gaza is another problem. It's a hellhole, and Hamas has got a stranglehold on its people, and they're killing their own. I mean, it's a disaster there. But whatever we end up doing, it's going to be it's going to be a two-state solution with a Palestinian state that has an economy to sustain itself side by side with the Jewish state of Israel, and hopefully recognized by all the Arab countries so we can get on with this already.
67 borders, 1967 borders.
I think there'll be some adjustment. Remember the Camp David meeting between Arafat, Barak, and Clinton before Clinton left. Arafat was offered 97% of the West Bank, and the 3% that he couldn't get because the Israeli settlements are there, there was going to be a commensurate amount of land someplace else. And as you know, he walked away from that remarkable deal, and and started the Second Intifada, which thousands and thousands of people lost their lives. So I'm not sure, I couldn't swear to you at 67 borders, but I can tell you that it's going to be a deal that the Palestinians will accept and the Israelis will accept.
Now we're bringing it back home. We're talking about diversity, and we are here at the Clark County Democratic Black Caucus meeting. So, African Americans are not being hired in many federal and government agencies. Can we meet with you and talk about the stats and the disparity?
Yes, you may, and please, yes, you may, and please call the office and let's set up an appointment. Probably won't be August, because August is getting, every minute of my August is already taken up, but I come home every weekend, and if you're willing to meet on a Saturday, I'm willing to meet on a Saturday.